Cohen defines there are three different types of families um, that we define in the US. He first talks about personal, which personal family means someone who you feel like you have a deep connection and understanding with to the point where you consider them family and you feel that they consider you hope that they consider you the same way too. It's like when your best friend for many years or whatever has a daughter and she calls you auntie or tia, even though you guys are not related. And then there's legal family, which that is where you are related either by blood, marriage, or adoption. And then there is institutional arena where we grow or where we are in certain institutions with certain roles or certain social structures. Like in a household, you've got your parents and your children and your siblings. And then in school, you have your professors and your students. Um, so to me, family, it doesn't not necessarily mean blood. To me, family is someone who you feel comfortable to the point where you can be vulnerable with them and they won't judge you. You will not feel judged. Those are the people that will have your back. Family to me are the ones that are accepting of you no matter what, the people that show loyalty and kindness, even through some of the worst times they might see you in. That's what family to me is. Someone who sticks around, not just when things get bad or when things get good, but throughout both. It's someone who you have come to build a very close bond with. And there's this assumption, some people assume that no, family means relatives. No, that's not necessarily the case because you could have blood family that does not treat you like blood family. They could be doing some shady stuff. Um, but yes, to me that's family. People who are just support you, trust, loyalty. You feel to the point you feel comfortable enough where you can show your vulnerability. That's what family to me is. Um, so Cohen then talks about the three theories that define family. There is structural functional, which moves society forward, where families bring their traditions and values and they pass them down to other families. And then there's conflict theory, an imbalance of power. And then there's symbolic theory, the little interactions that we have with people every day that mark our relationships with them. Those little interactions. It could be with like a best friend or a coworker or something like that. Even a professor. Um, so to me, I understand all of them, but there are two of these theories that really touched me the most, and those are that is conflict theory, and I say that because I mainly grew up seeing it in my household, where I grew up in a machista household where my dad had most of the control, and my mom, she did have she did go to work. She wasn't just a housewife, but she didn't have that much control, not like my dad did. But I myself have also been in situations where I feel overpowered, or also where I feel like I have too much power, where I feel like I have to have too much power, aka responsibility. I don't know if that aligns with conflict theory, but that's kind of how I look at it. But another one that touched me was structural functional theory, because I grew up in a household with traditions and values. And now that I'm married, I wanted to bring those traditions and values into my marriage. I wanted to introduce them, but there are times where conflict theory has just overrules it. And what I mean is, I feel like I'm not, sometimes it feels like with conflict theory, one person has too much on their load because they have to pick up that load. Because that person, you know, they won't pick up the load. Or it's because of you feel like you don't have a voice. You're feeling stifled and you feel like you can't do anything but what you are actually supposed to do. It just, either way, it's an imbalance of power. Believe it or not, even if you have too much power, you feel like it's not fair because it's family is, to me, I feel like both are supposed to be balanced. Now, growing up in a household where you with just structural functional, that's going to cause tension. I've been there, done that. And in a household where one person has the most power, either whether you are the receiver or you are the one that has to have that power, that can cause chaos. And I feel like an imbalance, a balance of both can really help a family flourish and thrive. Um, if I was doing a research and studying families, I would ask questions like, um, do you, how are the household chores split equally? Who does them? How often do you guys spend time together? Um, Questions like those. And the problem is with question errors, you can have people filling out the answers, but a lot of people, they're not always accurate because you're going to have people that rush through them. You're going to have people that just kind of, um, also that are not honest. Instead, what I would do is I would conduct face to face interviews, or I would go into the environment and study them. I would see how they interact with each other. Um, I would view how their day to day household life looks like. That's how I would do it. Because they're, looking at social media, the survey polls and all that stuff just scratches the surface. It's shallow. It's not accurate. So I feel like if I really wanted to get a sense of families and really study families, then that's where face-to-face interactions the face-to-face interviews along with um, shadowing would really come in handy.